All right, good morning, folks. Welcome to CIS 137. Today, we're going to be covering lab number 7, monitoring and managing Linux processes, right? So, we'll be opening up two screens, right, in workstation. So, one on the left, log in as a into workstation as a student, and do the same on the left screen, right? So, one will serve as a server, and the other one will serve as just a computer, right? So, as always, we have the instruction on the right, we have the command lines on the left, right? So we will start the lab. So lab process review start. Okay. So we start the lab, all right, on the left terminal, all right, and then in that left terminal, what do we want to do? We want to open up a directory, right? So and then we want to open up a directory, and then in that directory, we want to write a file. Okay. And then that process will be called process 101. Okay, so let's do that. So first we SSH into server B. Server B. So we are in server B, right? And then we want to make a directory. So make a directory, mkd. The directory name is home. Okay, student. Okay, bin, and then that's the directory, right? Home student bin. That's the directory. So we make that directory on the left terminal. Okay. And then same thing. Now, once the directory is open, we can use a VIM. So I'm going to change the make directory with VIM, right? So VIM will open the file, and what's the file name? So slash process 101. Okay, that process is called process 101. And then as soon as you hit enter, it will open the file, and then you have to write into that file, right? So what do you want to write into that file? I want to write all these commands. Okay. So 101 is going to be a process, okay, and then we will write things into that file until the maximum CPU uses is 50,000. As long as it's less than 50,000, we'll keep writing in there. All right, so let's do it. In Before you can do that, what do you want to do first? You click I to insert. Okay, otherwise it won't going to do anything. And then bin slash bash. That's a comment, right? And next while, okay, true, do int, right? Okay, we want the variable to be increased, so variable equal 1. So when you have to start while, you need to initialize the variable, right? Is equal to 1, then while variable is less than 50,000. Okay, do what? Increase the variable. So the new variable will be the previous one plus 1 plus 1. So we increase it, right? And then we're done with that while. Okay, and then we sleep for a few seconds, and then we're done. All right. So while true, do just make sure the content of the file is correct. Otherwise, it will do something else, right? So escape, and then shift colon WQ to save it and exit the file. Now, once the 101 file is created, we want to make that file executable, right? So that's where the permissions and then the control comes in, right? So remember the chmod command to control permission. So chmod plus X means that we are granting executable or execution permission, right? So home, okay, student, that was the directory, right? What is the file name? Process one. Okay? So we make that file that is contained in the directory executable, right? Okay, so we did that. Now we want to go, the process is being created. Let's go to the right terminal and see what's going on there, right? So in the right terminal, we need to SSH into server B, SSH student hearts server B. Okay. And then we use the top command to look at the processes that are running right now. Okay. So we do top. Okay. Okay. Two users, right? Load average 0.00 for the first one. And then, okay. You see, load average is showing here. We're going to be looking at this a lot. Okay. All right. So now we go back in the left terminal. Okay. Then what do we want to do in that terminal? We want to make sure, we want to find out what is the number of logical CPUs on the virtual machine, right? So let's go to grep, right? So cd first. Now let me do grep first. So grep model, okay, model name, okay, and then process, okay, CPU, CPU info, CPU info, and then what? WC, and then dash L. Okay. Go ahead and grab the model name in what file? The file that is called, that contains CPU informations, right? And then display that. So that means two, right? Two processes, okay, are in there. We're good. Now use CD, okay, to make sure we are in the directory called bin, right? So CD home student bin. So we change directory and get into that. Inside the server B, you see that bin is being appended right away, right? So now what we want to do inside that, we will want to run that process. So process 101, okay, and then you use the end symbol to run a process. So it shows one process being run, and then the ID in my case is 3267, right? Okay. Now go back to the right terminal, right? And then observe. Let's just stay there and observe. Okay. As you can see here, we have load average 0.0 for the first one. You might change later on. Okay. It's also showing that the CPU usage. Okay. All right. Percentage CPU 9.3 and all that. We want to press Shift plus M. So Shift and then M. Okay. So virtual machine. Okay. Users. Okay. There's a student that is using, there is a root that is using. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we can do Shift and P. Okay. Shift and P. Okay. See the same thing. You see the command here, process 101 right there. You can see it, right? Good. Now let's press M. Press M. Okay. All right. Let's press T and see what is being changing in there, right? Okay. So load average still there, right? Tax 120 total, 2 running, okay. All right. Percentage CPU, okay. All right. Let's press Shift T again, okay. And then now we want to change to bold. Shift B, as bold, okay. And then Shift W to save the change it, okay. All right. And then we change it, right? And then still in the right terminal, right? Okay. Still in the right terminal, we want to exit top. How do you exit it? By using escape Q, right? So let's use Q. We get out of top, right? Okay, good. Now let's go back to terminal on the left. So we want to create a new process called 102, right? The easiest way is copy the content from process 101 into 102 and make changes into 101, right? So let's go ahead and do copy process 101 into what? Process 102. Okay, we did that. Now we use the vim process 102 to do what? To open up that file. As you can see, you already have this while loop in there. So I click on I, insert, and what do I want to do? I want to change 50,000 to 100,000. 100,000, and then escape, shift, colon, WQ, and get out of there. Okay. So we have a new process called process 102 with the maximum CPU 100,000, right? And then we will execute that. So process, let's go ahead and do process 102 and then start that process. Okay. Shows two, right? And then let's do jobs to show all the jobs. So you see one is running, two is also running. And then we go back to the right terminal to confirm that. All right. So let me go to top. Okay. As you can see in this case, okay, three running right now. So it shows that, right? Two running, one running. It will come back to two. Yep, two running. All right. Good. So the load should be hovering between 25% and 35%, right? So let's make sure of that. Okay, you see the load. Okay, this one is 0.34, which is less than 0.35. And then all these guys, okay, everything here is less than 1, okay, in this case. Okay, now let's, so as you can see here, one thing also you need to be noticing is the command, right? So process 1 and process 2, process 101 and 102 are both running, right? Okay, if you can't see them, you click on Shift and P, it will show them. Right? 101 and 102 are both running. Good. So we go back to number 3, right? So the load average still below 1, as we can see from the right screen, as we saw from the right screen. Now we want to increase that. So we will do the same thing, copy process 101 to a new process called 103, right? 103. And then use the vim command to open up process 103. And then insert, and change the 50,000 with 800. So 800,000, and then escape, and then save the file, get out, and then start that process. Okay, 103, right? So I start that process. Okay, and then jobs. Okay, so you see that three processes are running. I'll go over here and confirm that. Now you see 101, 102, 103. All of them are running now. Good. All right. Okay. Now let's give it a minute and see. So we want this guy right here, which is the 103. See, 103, 102, 101. 103 is represent 103, the load average. This is 102, and this is 101, 101. You see, 103 increases is 1.18. Now it is above 1, which we want to see, right? It is above 1. All right. Isn't that cool? So you're not even in that directory, right? You will log in into the server, and then you log in into the server, and then you can monitor the process, the CPU usage, the load average, and stuff like that. Okay. That's somebody's job, really, just to monitoring the server uses and then to remediate actions, right? Okay, let's go back to the left terminal again, right? So that was a left terminal, and then let's use a su dash. Okay, red hat will be the password, and then we want to start. We want to be root because in order to stop or suspend the project, the process, you have to be root. So what we first want to do is we want to learn the difference between suspending a process and then just stopping completely the process. Suspend, we will suspend that, but when we restart the machine, it will come back, right? So for to suspend, you use a p kill, okay, dash sig, okay, sig stop will stop it, okay, sig stop, okay. So p kill dash sig stop, right? Which process we want to stop? So process 101, suspend, okay? So we suspend that process, okay? And then go back to the right terminal to confirm that. As you can see, process 101 is no longer in the list over here. It's only 103 and 102, right? Fabulous, right? We go back to the left terminal again. And then what do we want to do? We want to view the remaining job, right? You can just use job, but let's do that. PS. If you want to use job, you have to go to that directory and then use job, right? But we are out of the directory, right? That's why we're using PS space J and then uppercase T, right? So let's require more time, even though we don't need it. Okay. So it shows, okay, PPID, right? Okay. So the jobs that we have, okay, on the foreground. Okay. So process 101 has a study of T, right? Okay. Great. Now let's go to, we want to resume process 101. Okay. Go ahead and P kill. Instead of P kill stop, we use what? P kill continue. CONT uppercase. CONT, right? To continue to resume that process that we suspended. And then go back to the right screen and then Make sure of that. So 101 comes back. Okay, we're good. So it came back again in the right terminal, right? So now what we want to do, we want to terminate completely the three processes, 101, 102, and 103. Okay, to terminate, you use a pkill and then the process name. No more SIG. So process 101. Okay, we kill it completely. It will no longer exist. Do the same for 2. We do the same for 3. Boom. And then make sure of that. We can see them anymore, right? You can see the three processes anymore over here. They're no longer there. Beautiful. So we exit now over here, right? We exit as a root. We exit from server B. We come back to student. Okay, and then we do the same thing in the right terminal, right? We stop the process first by using Q. Okay, and then we exit server B and come back to workstation. All right, now let's evaluate the lab. So lab processes, view, read. All right, boom, you pass it, right? So everything is done properly, and then life is great. That's what you want to see, right? One less lab, right? Okay, so that's what you need to do for today. And then what you have to do next is what? So snipping tool, and then take a screenshot of these, including your credential, and then save it as whatever you want to save it, right? So I'm going to call it what, lab 7. All right, and save is in there. Now we need to load it into the assignment, right? So this complete what you need to do for lab 7, managing processes in Linux. So if you have any question, stop by my office hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in room 01143. Bye bye now, guys.